Hey everyone, and welcome to this deep dive. This one is a fascinating one. We're going to be diving into how trauma can actually get stuck in the body.
It's a really interesting area.
It is, and
Yeah.
we've got a stack of your sources right here, articles, research, the whole shebang, and it's pretty mind-blowing stuff, to be honest. You wanted to understand this whole mind-body connection, maybe for personal reasons, maybe just out of curiosity, but either way, get ready to see this topic in a whole new light.
It is fascinating, isn't it? I mean, for so long, the conversation around trauma has really focused almost exclusively on the psychological impact.
Right.
But, the more we learn, the more we're realizing that our bodies hold on to these experiences in ways that we never even imagined.
Yeah, it's like our bodies keep the score, even when our minds have moved on.
Mm-hmm.
One of the sources describes it as this primal memory. It's like imprinted on our very cells. It's like this hidden archive. And what's really striking to me is how this manifests physically.
Absolutely. Think about it this way. You're driving along and suddenly you have to slam on the brakes to avoid an accident.
Okay.
Even after you've pulled over, your heart's probably still racing. You might feel shaky. Your palms are sweaty.
Oh, yeah.
That's your autonomic nervous system,
Right.
specifically the fight or flight response kicking in.
Oh, I know that feeling all too well. Like my brain knows I'm safe,
Right.
but my body's still freaking out a little.
Exactly. And that's completely normal.
Okay.
Your body is releasing this surge of hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, priming you to deal with this threat.
Right.
Your muscles tense up, ready to spring into action.
Makes sense.
It's all designed to protect you.
Right. It's like we're hardwired for survival.
Exactly.
Okay, so that makes sense. But I'm guessing this is where things can get a little tricky when we're talking about trauma.
Yeah, you're right. So in everyday situations, once the perceived danger is gone, your nervous system calms down, those hormones dissipate, and your body returns to a state of equilibrium.
Yep.
But with trauma, particularly if it's unresolved or it's chronic, the body can get stuck in that heightened state of alert.
So even when the danger is long gone, the body's still reacting like it's right there in that moment.
Precisely. The nervous system, in a sense, hasn't gotten the memo that it's safe to stand down.
Wow.
It's like an alarm that keeps blaring even after the fire's been put out.
Okay.
And this is where we often see those lingering physical symptoms you were talking about. Muscle tension, digestive issues, sleep disturbances, even chronic pain.
That makes a lot of sense. And I imagine for some people, this sensitivity is even more pronounced.
Right.
One of the articles you sent mentioned this condition spasmophilia,
Yeah,
where the nervous system is like on high alert all the time.
that's right. Spasmophilia is a perfect example of how this heightened nervous system activity can really manifest. It's like the volume knob on their stress response is turned way up. Even minor stressors can trigger this really exaggerated physical response.
Wow. So something as simple as like a work deadline could feel like a full-blown crisis in their body. Wow. No wonder traditional therapies sometimes fall short.
Exactly. If we're only addressing the mental and emotional aspects of trauma,
Yeah.
we're missing a huge piece of the puzzle.
Right.
The body keeps score in ways that our conscious minds may not even be aware of.
Okay, so we know trauma can become embedded in our bodies, creating this constant state of tension, even if we don't realize it consciously.
Right.
But what can we actually do about it? That's what I'm really curious about.
That's where these body-focused therapies come in. And what's so fascinating about them is that they're not about reliving the trauma itself.
Right.
It's not about, digging up every painful memory and re-traumatizing yourself.
Okay.
It's more about releasing that stuck energy, that tension that's been locked in the body.
Right, like hitting the reset button on your nervous system. I'm really curious to hear more about how these therapies actually work.
Absolutely. Think of it this way. Traditional talk therapy is incredibly valuable for processing traumatic experiences on a cognitive level.
Yeah.
But these body-focused approaches, they tap into the body's innate wisdom, its capacity for healing and regulation, which is often overlooked.
Yeah, it's like we've been so focused on our minds that we've kind of forgotten to listen to the language of our bodies. And this dive into the source material is really making me realize just how much our bodies have been trying to tell us all along.
Exactly. So let's dive into some of these fascinating modalities, shall we? One that caught my eye is called etiotherapy.
Etiotherapy. Yeah, that one was new to me.
The source material describes it as a way of addressing energetic imbalances caused by trauma.
Right.
But I have to admit, I'm a little fuzzy on what that actually looks like in practice.
Okay, so think of it this way. Trauma, even if it originated in the mind or the emotions, can leave you feeling physically held back or blocked.
Okay.
Etiotherapy uses a very gentle, hands-on approach to release that tension.
So it's not about talking through the trauma. It's more about physically releasing it.
Precisely. A trained practitioner would use light touch and work with your body's energy pathways, almost like clearing out stagnant energy. Interesting.
The source material uses this analogy of a kink in a hose.
Okay.
Trauma can create these energetic kinks, and ideotherapy aims to kind of smooth them out, restore flow and balance.
Okay, I'm starting to get a sense of it. So it's like you're releasing the physical memory of the trauma, even if the conscious mind doesn't fully remember it.
Exactly. And because the body remembers sometimes, that release is all it takes to create these really profound shifts in well-being.
Wow.
Now, on a completely different note, there's biofeedback, which uses technology in a really intriguing way.
Biofeedback. Okay, yeah, this one sounds straight out of a sci-fi movie to me. You're basically hooking yourself up to a machine that tells you what's happening inside your body.
You got it. And it's not as intimidating as it might sound, though.
Oh, okay.
Basically, sensors are placed on your skin, and they give you this real-time feedback on things like your heart rate, your muscle tension, even your skin temperature.
So you're actually seeing the physical manifestations of your stress response as it's happening.
Precisely. And here's the key. Once you become aware of those often unconscious physical responses, you can learn to control them.
Wow.
The source material gives a great example of someone who gets shaky hands before presentations.
Oh, yeah.
Biofeedback can help them train their body to stay calm in those situations.
That's amazing. So you're taking control of your nervous system's reactions.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, this next one really piqued my interest, mainly because it sounds a lot gentler. Somatic experiencing.
Somatic experiencing, yes. This one emphasizes the mind-body connection in a really powerful way.
Okay.
It's grounded in the idea that trauma isn't just a story we tell ourselves. It's a physiological experience that gets imprinted on our nervous system.
So it's not about talking about the trauma directly, but rather tuning into the body's sensations.
Exactly. A skilled practitioner guides you to gently notice and explore those physical sensations that are associated with the trauma in a very safe, controlled environment.
Yeah.
They might ask you to notice where you feel tightness in your body or how your breathing changes when you recall certain memory.
It sounds almost like a mindfulness practice, but with a trauma-informed approach.
That's a great way to put it. The idea is that by gradually re-experiencing those sensations in a safe space without judgment, you can help your nervous system regulate itself and release that trapped energy.
I love that it's like you're giving your body permission to finally let go of what it's been holding on to for so long. Okay, we've only got time for one more, and I'm drawn to this one because it's so different from everything else we've talked about, TRE or tension and trauma release exercises.
Ah, yes, TRE. This one is fascinating because it taps into the body's natural tremor response as a way to release this deep muscular tension.
Okay, I have to admit, the idea of intentionally making myself tremble sounds a little strange, but I'm intrigued.
I get it, but think about it. Animals in the wild, they shake after a stressful encounter, right?
Right.
It's an instinctive way to discharge that excess stress energy.
You're right. I've totally seen my dog do that after a trip to the vet. It's exactly.
It shakes for a few minutes and then he's totally back to normal.
We humans have that same innate mechanism, but we've often lost touch with it.
Okay.
TRE helps us tap back into that natural tremor response, allowing the body to release that deeply held tension.
So like you're literally shaking off the stress and trauma that's been stored in your muscles.
Precisely. And the best part is you don't need any fancy equipment or years of therapy to experience its benefits. It's a simple yet powerful technique.
This is blowing my mind. I'm realizing just how much power our bodies hold to heal and release trauma.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also wondering, with so many different options, how do you even know where to begin?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And honestly, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. It's about finding what resonates with you, what feels right for your body and your experiences.
Totally. It's like we've uncovered this whole toolkit for healing, but now we have to figure out which tools are the best fit for our individual needs. I have to admit, even just learning about these approaches has got me thinking differently. And that's a huge step in the right direction sometimes. Just expanding our awareness of what's possible is enough to start shifting things within ourselves.
So true. You know, as we've been talking, I keep coming back to this idea from the source material that our bodies have this innate capacity for healing, for regulation. It's like we have this inner wisdom that we've forgotten how to tap into.
It's really remarkable when you think about it. Our bodies are constantly striving for balance, for well-being. And these body-focused therapies, they're not so much about fixing us,
Right.
but about reminding us of our own innate resilience.
That's such a powerful reframing. It's not about seeing ourselves as broken, but rather as holding the potential for healing within.
Exactly. It's about
Hmm.
learning to listen to our bodies, to understand the messages they're sending us, and to support their natural healing process.
Okay, so if someone is listening to this feeling like their mind and AD body have been completely blown wide open, which, same, by the way, where would you suggest they start?
Well, the good news is you don't have to have it all figured out right away. It's a journey. Start by getting curious. Maybe something we talked about today really resonated with you. Etiotherapy, biofeedback, somatic health, experiencing TRE. Do a little more research on your own. See what grabs your attention.
Right, it's like we've given you the trailhead, but you get to choose your own path from here. And who knows, maybe what works for you is something you haven't even heard of yet.
Absolutely. And don't be afraid to experiment. Try different approaches. Talk to practitioners. See what feels right in your body. Your intuition is a powerful guide on this journey.
It's so true. And as we wrap up our deep dive today, that's the thought I want to leave you with. Your body is incredibly wise. It holds the keys to profound healing and resilience. Listen to it, trust it, and most importantly, be kind to yourself along the way.
If this conversation resonated with you, don't stop here. Explore more mind-body topics with us at Cognitive Curves. Subscribe for more deep dives into psychology and healing, and let us know your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. Your journey to self-discovery starts now. Let's navigate it together.